Hey everybody, we're going to go through a install of a backup cam and monitor system for a 2017 Hyundai Sonata. I found a couple videos for 2011, 2015, and I'm going to give it a go on this newer generation, and hopefully this helps you guys too. So we're using this $40 system we got from Amazon that comes with monitor and camera. That's it. LeekooLuu, we'll see. I've already tested it. There are two ways to power the system. One, you can see here, you actually use that cigarette adapter. Way two, you're going to splice it into your backup cam or your reverse lights. I'm going to do that, but I have brought it to the car and tested it with that before running all the wiring, and everything looks quite great. So here we are at the car. So I started by looking at a couple videos, as I said, getting relatively familiar with the process, and now we're here sort of discovering what are the challenges with the 2017 versus the 15. In general, what we're about to do here is install license plate cam right there, pointing backwards, find somewhere to run the wire through there into the trunk behind that panel right there, which we take off with these little plastic rivets, easy. So then the wire will be back here, run down this, I'd imagine, which we take off with these little plastic rivets. Not sure how those go yet. And then, yeah, we can see a little bit of wiring going on behind there, so you probably can't. But then we're gonna go back. Look at all this shit. Gonna go back into the car. Most likely run it down here. This grommet probably can be lifted up, and it'll go up front, and we'll have the camera probably up there. That's my mount location. So that's the main step, is having the camera running from front to back and linked up with the camera. Now power as well. There's going to be a wire coming off of the camera for power, and we're going to hook that into the reverse lights. Alright, so I looked at a video, and they said that recommended to drill a hole through the trunk panel, which, like right there behind it, which I don't love the idea of, and I'm wondering if we can run it through one of these guys. Now the license plate lights don't have visible screws, and maybe the tail lights, well, there's no visible screws anywhere, so thought might be to open up the inside and see if there's any way to detach some of those things and see what we got. The other thing is just a note, like to keep everything organized, Sharpie, plastic baggies and stuff. So this is for the trunk panel rivets, same thing with other screws that we're going to do. So we've got our little rivets out all around. Those can just be very easily pried out with a little flathead screwdriver. There they all are. We opened this up, took out two Phillips screws from there, and then per their directions we pull and it starts to shake loose. This is what it's looking like behind it. We're going to pull the whole guy out. Before pulling that off, I thought it would be better to take this arm off first, this plastic grommet, because it's holding it in. But it's somewhat difficult to get these guys, and I don't want to damage it too much. So, looked underneath, and you can actually see the wire. There's really no reason to take this off, as far as I can tell, so we're not going to. We're just going to run the wire from there all the way down the back side and through. Alright, so we removed this interior panel. Bing. And the point was to start exploring whether there were good options to run the wire through the back into the trunk. So that gap, we're looking for a gap somewhere there. It was somewhat, initially it didn't look great. Let's have a quick look. We have, what do we got here? That black thing is the trunk handle. Pretty solid, and I can't see how we would run anything through there because it's solid plastic behind it in the square. The lights looked the same, but I actually have noticed something here, so let's take a look. We have the lights, that's the trunk handle right there. then the lights are right there. And you can actually see, once again, square rectangle, but on the corners it actually looks to me like there's a gap. It's hard for you to see that. Looks like there's a gap. And so I'm wondering if we can just squeeze our little camera wire through that gap. So that will go through the gap. So we're going to take out one of the lights and try and run that through and reinstall the light and see if it doesn't screw things up too much. Okay, so how do we do that? You can see those are the little metal clips that held it on. That little ridge was around a lip, so I just stuck the Phillips, pried somewhat forcefully to compress that in, and put a little pressure on the back and it popped out. It's about to start raining, so we might have an issue. Okay, so this is the idea, right? Wire up through here. Can it fit? Oops. Can it fit there? Ideally, it's going to go on the side of that little rivet, the side of that metal thing, and then poke out between the light and the bumper. Shouldn't be an issue. Let's see. This is the result. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to run it a little longer, but we basically kept it to the left. We pushed it in. It looks like that metal grommet has purchased, so it's pretty stable. Like, I can't pull this out right now, so I think this will stay where it is. And we just have a little gap. But now we're in the trunk and should be able to finish the job. So yeah, no drilling, no drilling. Okay, and then we have one more key point, and I haven't thought about this yet, but we have the reverse lights. So I do believe, what is it, usually the silver one, right? So there's a light bulb over there. It's probably this guy. Yes, main light. Or is that the blinker? I don't know, I'm gonna have to look. It's working out splendidly. We have, you can't even tell which is mine. You have the wire from the light. You have the connectors, this is just part of the kit, by the way, so you'll figure this part out by looking at the kit directions, running it along, running it down behind. It's already tucked in. I'm gonna fasten it a little bit somehow. Running it down below. It's looping there. And then you can see I tucked it into that. I'll do a little better job. It went down that edge. Boom. So we just want to run it through the cabin now. So this is going far better than I could have planned. You come inside here. This is the rear seat, right? Reach through, and this is where our cable was, coming from the trunk panel above. And you can run your fingers along this liner and just tuck the cable in super easy, all the way down. Lift this up. My cable, you wouldn't believe it, but it's in there. And you can then use your hands, shove it through, shove it under, shove it in. I'm feeling the cable right now. Shove it around, and it's really raining now. And then run it up here, and then run it into here. There she is. And then just run it down, boom, 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 boom. Oh, what am I gonna, actually, might have to go, probably right turn there, up there. We'll see. Change of plans. I said we were gonna right turn here. We are not, because it's pretty hard. So we wanna go straight down here right away. So I'm gonna run it instead down under there. Just pull it up from here and bring it over. Like so. You can see now we are running from the seat out here. This stuff is pretty stiff at the bottom. I did use some force to really pull it out and stick the wires through. Couldn't get it to here, so this is the best we're gonna do, but it's fine. And then it goes down below all the way through. And same here, under here, blah, blah, blah. Now here's the interesting part. Once again, this crack doesn't help with routing. I can't get it under there to go up. The goal there. So, what we're gonna do is run it back, back, back. Now this part is also difficult, but I am gonna make a little compromise here. Run it as far as I can under, And then just fucking get it up behind. Hold on. So we ran it back there. You can see the wire. And then we have it just running up there because it hooks behind a very loose portion, like an open portion back there. So, one final challenge. It comes out here. We're going to run it up this grommet, easy. But one final challenge is we have an extra length of wire. What are you going to do with it? You can cut it, or I'm going to roll it up a little bit and tuck it back in that open section to shorten it and just call it a day. So 1 second. We've come across a difficulty. I was going to roll this guy up and tuck it back. Then I realized when measuring that the screen itself has some cord we're going to have to account for. I'm going to minimize the amount of cord shown. So this would have to tuck, right? But then this has a big old connector. And so that's not going to fit behind there. So I'm thinking. This is the solution. It's going to show. You could probably do something better. But run behind here. And there she is. Fine. Now, you're going to have a little difficulty with this guy, but you'll figure it out. It's not that bad. Yeah. As promised, here is our coil, and we're going to put that back there. Done. Okay, so I didn't document it, but we figured out which was the reverse light. And there's 3 bulbs, and it's the furthest one on the left, which you saw from that video earlier. We cut out with a razor blade a little slit and unwound a bit of the wire around these 2 wires, red and black, negative and positive respectively. It's raining again, so I'm hurrying. Then we, as you can see, wrapped our 2 power wires, and we're going to cover them in electrical tape. It works, long story short, so we're all good. Okay, last step was to zip tie, power, electrical tape. Not that great, but you know, hopefully I don't catch on fire. And then a couple zip ties here and here, which I'm going to cut, of course. So I think that's it. I'll show you the inside of the car, but reach out if you have any questions, I guess. Thanks. It's the final product. And then there it is on the inside, stuck with the 3M. Got a little wire, not great, but it is what it is. And then yeah, I think it looks nice. Almost native. Oops. And then, so we are in park right now. System check. Park. No screen. Reverse. Screen. Wow, it's freaking out in the camera. Yeah, so there it is. Oh, come on. It's really not bad. Looks pretty good, I think so. Anyways, job complete. Total time, maybe 2 hours of work time.